Good morning. My name is Kelly Wells with the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission. We're so excited to have everybody here today. It seems like only a couple months ago, because it was, that we made the announcement that the USA Boxing National Championships was coming to Shreveport Bossier City. And through a lot of stresses and confusion and other things that we've all experienced over the last year, fear, we finally made it to this day. And it's good to know that we've got thousands of folks who are coming in, tied into this USA Boxing National Championships, and it's just a great opportunity. You know, originally, when we got the call back in September of 2020, we were originally looking at a date of December the 5th through the 12th to host the championships, but Mike McAtee and the USA Boxing team, LSU Health, all sat down and really had a meeting and decided, even though we could have had the event back in December, we didn't feel with the COVID and what we knew and didn't know about bringing gatherings together, we felt like the best call was to move this to March 25th through April the 3rd. So it's good to say we're going to be boxing here at the Shreveport Convention Center over the next 8 days. So we're super excited about that. We couldn't do this without, of course, we get to stand up here on behalf of the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission, the cities of Shreveport and Bossier, Caddo and Bossier parishes, the Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser and the Louisiana Office of Tourism, among a host of other partners. But we couldn't do this without some of our private partners. So I wanted to, first of all, bring Matt Hammock, our sponsorship manager, up, just to thank a few of the sponsors who have helped us locally make this event happen. Matt Hammock.
Yeah, I don't know about a few of the sponsors. It's actually a lot of them. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to everybody. Thanks to the Hilton and the Convention Center for all their hard work and making sure that that this is going to be a safe venue for the athletes and the staff that will be working this. So thank you all so much. During this COVID, it's been so tough raising sponsorships and raising sponsorship dollars for these events. Back in December, whenever we decided to postpone this event, I had a conversation with Kelly and I said, well, what do we do with these sponsors? Just let them know and pray that they roll it over to the postponed date, which we didn't have a date at the time. So when we made that announcement, I was really not sure what was going to happen with them. I'm happy to say that not a single sponsor decided to leave. So that's really awesome for not just for me, but for this event, for the Sports Commission staff, for USA Boxing and their team. So we gave them the opportunity to take their money and go on about their business, save a little bit more money in the midst of the unknown. But all of these sponsors stayed on board. So excuse me as I read off this list, but thank you to the Louisiana Office of Tourism and Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Thank you to LSU Health for all that y'all are doing for this event. Y'all are providing so much, so thank y'all for also preparing the great COVID plan along with our staff and USA Boxing. Thank you to Samstown for sponsoring our scales for the weigh-ins every morning. Thank you to Barksdale Federal Credit Union. Without them, we wouldn't be able to put up the beautiful street banners that you'll see along downtown Shreveport. And thank you, Liz, and your team over at the Downtown Development Authority for all that y'all have done, as well as coordinating with some of our restaurants and other partners. Thank you to Cintas for all that y'all are doing, especially with the providing of more Germex and hand sanitizer and keeping us clean here locally, as well as for this event. Thank you to Strawn's Eat Shop and the U.S. Army Recruiting Center. They'll have a booth here, as well as the Air Force Reserve and the Army National Guard. So if you're interested in looking to see the benefits of joining our Army National Guard or the Air Force Reserve, they'll be here to talk with you. Thank you to the Marines. Without the Marines, we wouldn't be able to do a daily highlight videos. So I'm really excited to see what USA Boxing's team puts together for that. Thank you to Shreveport Eye Specialists and Community Bank of Louisiana. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to donate about 20 pairs of gloves to one of our local gyms. So that was one of our really good community give back efforts that we did. Thank you to the Sewing Shop, Krager Laborde CPA, Matthews Beatty and Company CPAs. And these CPAs, they're busy. And who would have known back when we were asking for money that tax deadline would be pushed back. So thank you to them. Thank you to Pioneer Comfort Systems, Professional Tax and Accounting, Rice and Kindig Law Firm. If you get knocked out on accident, give them a call. They're injury attorneys. SBC Autos, TFG Financial, the Hilton and the Holiday Inn, Main Street Title, Ryder Carpet Care, Northwest Mutual, Airline Drug, the Shreveport Aquarium. And also thank you to our national sponsors. On behalf of USA Boxing, thank you to Pure and Clean for providing all the cleaning and sanitizing and fogging supplies. Thank you to Sting, thank you to Impact Mouthguards, Hyper Ice, Under Armour, and Team IP. Like I said when I started, as I wrap up, in a year that has been all about supporting local, thank you to all of our local sponsors for staying on board. That's all I have, and if you want to list the sponsors, let me know.
Thank you, Matt, and again, we could not do it without not only the sponsors, but I know the volunteers, and we've got a huge number of volunteers, both locally, and I forgot the number, but it's quite a few that'll be helping out, giving of their own time, and really our volunteers are our best assets and our biggest ambassadors for our community. So it's great that they come out, even when it's a little bit trickier right now to volunteer, to come out and help. And I know that USA Boxing, and I'm sure Mike McAtee will speak about that a little bit more in the future, but I believe they have close to 100 who are coming in, whether it's boxing physicians but just all the things that take place when hosting a national championship like this. Mike McAtee, I've met him over the years at different sporting events. I haven't had a pleasure of meeting more than a couple of his staff up until these last few months, but really, and I know pivoting has been really the theme over the last year or so, and even though they're still making last-minute adjustments, the number of boxers who are coming in is really unheard of based on what the national championships have hosted in the past. So even the length of this national championship. So we really appreciate, as we bring Mike McAtee, the CEO of USA Boxing, up, we appreciate each of their staff and volunteers for believing in Shreveport Bossier, knowing that we could accommodate this. And so Mike McAtee, without further ado, thanks for your investment in our community.
I was going to be a little bit careful there, taking off my mask with my hearing aids. It'd be really a little bit embarrassing crawling around on the floor trying to find them. So that's always a good start. First of all, seriously, we are so excited to be here in Shreveport and Bossier Cities. And on behalf of USA Boxing, our board of directors, our staff, our fantastic coaches, officials, and boxers, thank you for having us here. It's been a long time coming. It seems like we were here in November. It was 5 minutes ago, and it also seems like it was 5 years ago. So it has been a journey. And just like the rest of the country, USA Boxing had its struggles, like most sports that support youth activities. We're all struggling, our national governing bodies, and ultimately USA Boxing, our pipeline goes all the way to the Olympics. So it has impacted us from 8 years old. Our oldest boxer I checked the other day is 79. So those of you who are thinking about making a comeback or have never been, you'll have to box Tim over here, who will be a good gauge. And trust me, he looks like he could still be an Olympian competing in Tokyo. So thank you, Tim, for being here. Thank you for what you do for the youth, because boxing is more than professional boxing. It's a way of life. And I want to recognize you and the great work you do. So we're going to have about 2,500 boxing people here in your city. And the first thing you have to be thinking is, oh my God, what are we going to be doing about COVID? And I can tell you, with the great support of LSU School of Medicine, the United States Olympic Paralympic Committee, Sports Med, our doctors, we've all worked with one thing in mind, was health and safety of our boxers, coaches, and officials, health and safety of volunteers, administrative staff, and third and most importantly, being good citizens. And the direction we were given by our board back in March was every decision you make has to check all three of those boxes. And quite frankly, on November 24th, we had to make the decision that we were going to postpone because we could not check all three of those boxes. We felt like we could take care of our boxers, coaches, and officials. We felt like that we could take care of our administrative staff and our volunteers. But with the fantastic work that we have with LSU, we didn't think we could be good citizens, and we postponed. We think that was the best call then. I think it's the best call now, because we're here and we're excited. I can tell you, and you can hear it in my voice. So, 400 and, I want to make sure, because Brian's done a great job of figuring it out, 466 days we haven't had a national event for USA Boxing. Today, we're back to boxing. And the other thing you have to think about is, oh God, if this is their first one, what have they been doing since COVID struck? I can tell you right now, we started our boxing, back to boxing at the local level on July 11th. And since that time, we've had over 100 boxing events in 32 states, over 20,000 participants being boxers, coaches, officials, physicians, and limited audience. So what we've done with our local boxing committees is they all have been fantastic. They followed our protocols. We have pre-meetings, post-meetings, after action, and we've taken that combined experience and the experience we have here, and all those combined efforts, that's why we believe we can have the, as Mike Campbell, our events manager, says, the largest boxing event in the history of USA Boxing. That's going to be here in Shreveport with the fewest amount of people ever in the venue at any one time. So we are checking all of those 3 boxes. I can tell you, this would not have happened if it wasn't for the great work of the Shreveport-Bossier Athletic Commission with Kelly and his team, who have just been phenomenal. And it's really great seeing everybody in person. We've talked about it and our partners with LSU, that we're actually seeing people live and not, and showing my age here, that we're not being Brady Bunch in Hollywood Squares. So, my staff probably sick and tired of hearing that joke, but you know, fresh audience, fresh jokes, sorry. But seriously, we're glad to be a part of here. Louisiana's a great state. We were in Lake Charles for our Olympic trials. And what's important is, yeah, we did our Olympic trials in 2019 in December, but this tournament here is the first step of getting our boxers ready for Paris 2024. The other thing that's important about this tournament is, typically USA Boxing, we have the youngest boxing team at the Olympic Games. Our average age is about 19 to 20. The rest of the world's about 25. I will tell you that in our Bantam divisions, who are 10 years old, that'll be boxing. It's not a whole lot of math there, and as a boxer, I didn't have great defense like Tim. I can tell you that even potential Olympians for LA 2028 will be competing here. So this is huge for us. We want to thank everyone, all our partners. If it wasn't for the city, the commitment, Kelly's team, LSU's team, we wouldn't be here, and our great volunteers. We're looking to come back to Louisiana, and thank you for having us. And on behalf of our 18,000 members, thank you very much, and we're looking forward to great boxing for the next several days.
And we always let visitors know, when you come to Louisiana, don't plan on losing weight. So we'll see how that goes with the boxers this week. We say we eat our way through Louisiana, so I know that the staff and we always ask when the community, as you see these boxers out, their families and all the staff, just give them a warm welcome to Shreveport-Bossier feel. And so we've already seen that, as most of them have arrived and will continue to arrive today to get ready for these next few days. Again, like Mr. Mike McAtee mentioned, we could not have done it without LSU Health. And so from day one, they got on board, and I've known Dr. Shane Barton for many years. In fact, we hosted the USA Wakeboard Nationals a few years ago, and I got out on the water and it wasn't that the water actually slipped on a boat ramp, but broke my ankle, and so that's where I really got to know how great a talent we have in our local physicians and surgeons. So I wanted them to come up, both Dr. Barton and Dr. Seidenberg, to talk about LSU's health and how they've really spent a lot of time and effort. I believe a lot of the physicians are taking off over the next few weeks, or next 8 days, to really be a part of this. So Dr. Barton, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I won't ask you to sacrifice again to demonstrate our expertise this time. I want to reiterate what's already been said on this podium. This is a wonderful time for Shreveport Bossier, and it's a wonderful time for USA Boxing. As Kelly said, I've been here for 16 years, and I've been involved with USA sports, mostly weightlifting, with our athlete ambassador Kendrick Ferris and Coach Kyle Pierce at LSU Shreveport. And really, you start to set a standard, and you realize the skill that these athletes have. I was going to say young athletes, but it's athletes of all age. And for them to be able to showcase what they're doing in a nationals like this is so important. And for all this to have been put on hold, there's a tremendous amount of stress, as we all know, on the athletes, the families. It's what they've worked for and what they've done. Even recently, the Tokyo Olympics have announced big changes on who's going to be able to attend and see those events. And so this is something that's affected us. When Kelly reached out to me about USA Boxing, and especially the size of the event, this was, in the middle of the summer, last summer. We knew that this was going to be staged around Thanksgiving. And we also knew that there was potential for really ramping up cases. We didn't know what the phases would look like. And so I really had to approach my administration. I'm the chair of orthopedic surgery at sports medicine. My colleague is Dr. Pete Seidenberg, who's the chair of family medicine and comprehensive care, and also sports medicine on the primary care side. And we really began to approach our administration. Dr. Ghali, our chancellor, Dr. Kevel, our vice chancellor of research, and Dr. Vancheri, who is over the vaccination program for us. It was a hard decision. This is a big deal. We knew that there weren't going to be a lot of spectators, but still 1,000 plus, 1,400 plus athletes coming with all their coaches. This potentially had the possibility of being a super spreader event. And in meeting with Mike McAtee, and I'll thank him for the professionalism that you've demonstrated at every meeting we've had. In meeting with him, we realized we would not be good citizens to push this through, although we all wanted to, and we wanted to get those athletes back out there. And so working with Kelly and his wonderful team at the Sports Commission, we had to make a decision, can we do this in the spring? And there was no way to predict. We did not know that we would see these numbers going down. We could only look at data, and the data, I mean, this is a first-time event for us, okay, for the world really like this, with travel like it is. And we made a bet. And right now we're, with looking at how safe that we really wanted this event to be, we're feeling very good about where we are. Okay, Dr. Vancheri has driven the science on this virus. Dr. Kevel and his Emerging Viral Threats Lab has helped through LSU make diagnoses of the risk factors that come up, things we can do to prevent, and best practices that we can utilize to make the athletes and the coaches and the officials and the attendees safe. And so there was a lot of thought and effort that has been put into this. We utilize, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee has extensive thoughts, writings, white papers, the physicians that travel with USA Boxing. I mean, many of these physicians have done this just like I have traveled with other sports. They're very dedicated to this sport, and we all, number one, we hold the safety of the athletes at the highest. But number two, all the people that support it and are around, we also hold that obviously very seriously. And so we're very excited to be here. We've been able to incorporate our residents, orthopedic surgery and family medicine residents, really being coordinated by one of our newest sports medicine faculty, Dr. Charles Webb. He's really helping drive the coordination for this event. Our residents have to go through extreme vetting. All of us, to be involved with these athletes, have to go through extreme vetting, background checks, specific training on how to deal and interact with athletes that may be vulnerable. Things to look for that in the past maybe weren't considered too much. And so this has really been an excellent, just an excellent practice in what to do to stage an event, to make it safe for people, to make it safe for the athletes particularly. And I'm just very excited to be involved. I want to wrap up with introducing Dr. Seidenberg, if he'll come up now. Dr. Seidenberg came here from Penn State, where he was the sports medicine physician for Penn State. He took over as the chair of family medicine. And he and I have already started working very hard to build what we can do here in Shreveport-Bossier, particularly with our LSU Health Shreveport School of Medicine. And I also want to throw out one last thing. Lisa Babin, I want to give you a thanks for all the coordinating that you do for this, for us, for keeping us all on track. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Seidenberg.
Thank you, Dr. Barton. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Kelly, for allowing us to partner with you to help cover this event. What we are doing as LSU Health is we are assisting with the pre-participation physicals for those boxers who are not able to obtain physicals due to limitations from COVID. We are making sure our boxers are safe to participate. In addition, we are partnering with the physicians of USA Boxing and performing the pre and post-bout physicals with them. In addition, we are performing numerous tests for COVID for our boxers and our staff. And so we are here to help guarantee that this is a safe event. We have our faculty involved in both the departments of orthopedics and family medicine, and the organization of our departments, our faculty and our residents, has really been under the leadership of Dr. Charles Webb, who we have recruited to come here from Oregon. He's a Fort Worth native, and we are happy to have him back in the area. He is our new chief of our sports medicine division in the Department of Family Medicine. So I'm going to ask him to say a few words. Dr. Webb.
Thank you. Thank you to USA Boxing, Kelly, and Mike. Thank you, Dr. Seidenberg, Dr. Barton, for recruiting me down here to the wonderful state of Louisiana. I was recruited down to help build. So I can't imagine a better way to build a program in the great state of Louisiana than to kick it off with the largest boxing tournament in USA Boxing history. So with that, we are organizing this, as Dr. Seidenberg said, with the physicians, the orthopedic surgeons, the residents of LSU Health Shreveport School of Medicine, the family physicians and the faculty from the residency of LSU Health School of Medicine, and the sports medicine providers to provide the physicals, the pre and post-bout physicals, the weigh-ins for the boxers as they come in, all while we're also doing the COVID testing here to keep everyone safe from COVID. In addition to that, we're also turning it into an educational opportunity for the residents to come in and learn. We also have opportunities for the medical students from the School of Medicine to come in and have an opportunity to learn and see what this is all about, not only from USA Boxing, but also from the world of sports medicine and the physicians that are here. So with that, it is a great opportunity for us to be here. I want to thank you, and I can't imagine a better way to kick off a new division with LSU Health Shreveport and the School of Medicine and the sports medicine that we have here as we build a great program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Webb, LSU Health, and they don't only do this for USA Boxing, but I know that they've helped out with multiple high school sports. They've helped us out with some other, the state swimming championships back in November, and lacrosse, and you name it. So it's great partners, and tied in with what you just heard from each of them, and a lot of folks don't realize, but LSU Health leads the country in a lot of this research, and so again, it's something that I've learned and just provides a lot more confidence for us moving forward, and we are moving forward. But you tie what LSU Health is doing with USA Boxing and all their talented physicians that that travel around the country and probably around the world to make sure year-round that the boxers are kept safe. We also have the award-winning Venue Shield with ASM Global, which is the largest venue management company, and so they're tying in as well. Of course, a lot of the athletes are staying at the Hilton Shreveport, and so Hilton's got a world-renowned protection shield as well. And so we just really feel like it's safe, and we feel like when we're wrapping up next Saturday night that everybody will have been safe and taking all the precautions necessary to make these big events happen. We wanted one of our sponsors to come up, and I see Mike here with Coke, and of course he's provided some of the phenomenal banners and stuff, and of course Dasani and Coke without sugar is what I tell my wife I drink anyway. But we wanted Mr. Suey Georgeville to come up with Centos and talk about a little bit of what he's got going on and what Centos is adding to the recipe to make this successful and safe.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I'm really proud and happy with such an effort. The last 12 or so months has presented unique challenges for all across the board. I think on a personal level, most of us have been impacted by the effects of COVID, but commercially and as a community, I think the impacts of this have been much greater than any of us previously imagined. With that being said, though, I am proud to be up here speaking behind such qualified experts to represent Centos in Northwest Louisiana, East Texas, and Southern Arkansas. What we are able to provide throughout this community and other communities alike is an ability to help support a safe and responsible reopening of communities and economies. That is the value I think we bring to this community, and we own and we champion that effort to ensure that the PPE supplies necessary to functionally reopen safely are readily available so that business owners, community leaders, and community activists feel comfortable moving our economies forward. We appreciate the opportunity. We look forward to many more like this. We are excited about this opportunity, and I also want to give huge kudos to those who are working behind the scenes to move our community forward back to a safe, responsible reopening. Kudos to Kelly, Matthew, Allison. We look forward to many more events. We look forward to a return of a prosperous local economy, and we look forward to the role we have in playing in ensuring that happens. With that being said, we're so excited for the visitors. We are so excited to host, show the best of what the Northwestern Louisiana economy has to offer, and we look forward to so many more opportunities to do things like this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I want to recognize our chair of the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission, Coach Billy Wayne Montgomery, for most of the time saying yes to events, and of course our board members that are appointed by the two cities and two parishes, and they really make our job easier. And of course with the community support, providing these resources allow us to get these world-renowned events here. Liz Swain is also here, and as I was driving over here this morning, I was already seeing folks walking around, already asking for where's the good places to eat. And the good thing, there's a lot of good places to eat. So we can even, the good thing is a lot of times we don't get a total of 8 days, so everybody's going to get out and really get a taste Shreveport-Bossier as well. But one of Liz, she's really been special, and she's really the keeper of downtown Shreveport, and of course it expands over, or we also expand over into Bossier, but she does a really good job of working with us to provide maps and really educate the businesses around the area, which is really key to let them know that these visitors are coming in. So I wanted Ms. Liz Swain to come up and speak about what she's been working on.
All right, holy moly, thank goodness this has finally arrived. We have all been waiting for this, are super excited about these next 8 days. I can't tell you how excited my downtown is. I want to welcome you to downtown Shreveport. For those of you who have never been here before, I want you to keep coming back. Downtown is the hub of culture, government, and business. It's the center of our city, and it is also the place where our history started. And how appropriate is that, Mike, that we were talking about that just this morning. This is going to be a history-making event. There's always going to be an asterisk in the record books, in the history books about this event, the very first post-pandemic boxing match. How impressive that is happening in downtown Shreveport. On behalf of everyone in downtown Shreveport, I want to welcome you So many of you are going to be out and about over the next 8 days. You're going to be seeing these flyers in the front of businesses throughout downtown, welcoming you visually with special offers, telling you exactly how much they love you and they want you to come back. The one thing about downtown Shreveport and Northwest Louisiana in general, you may come as a stranger, you will leave as a friend. Depending on how many beverages you drink, you may leave as a relative. I would warn against that. We tend to borrow money from our relatives. Thank you so much, USA Boxing, for continuing this long journey to get where we are today. I can't wait to see what happens at the end of this 8 days. Thank you so much, and welcome to downtown Shreveport.
Liz, I'm still trying to get there with the energy, enthusiasm that you bring, so that's why we always bring Liz on
Do a
board.
little boxing before, and it kind of warms you up.
She was an energy drink before energy drinks were even here. Last but not least, and really the neatest thing of a real quality event for Shreveport-Bossier and for any community is when you can have an event, and this event is going to have more than a $4 million direct impact over these 8 days. The dollars that are being brought in, and again, that's why we thank them so much, is because they come in and they spend money on the hotels and the restaurants, shopping and retail. A few of them will head over to the casinos in the evenings, and a few of them will head to some of our area healthcare facilities and drugstores, et cetera, throughout those 8 days. So it's a huge economic impact, but the neat thing about it too is when it's a great quality of life event as well. So when we get into these events, you know, like with boxing, we got to know a lot better our local boxing clubs. You know, the boxing community is a very strong boxing community. You know, I see Jake here, and I think there's 4 or 5 different boxing clubs in the area, and over the last few years we've hosted some regional events, and I know we just had a showcase event a couple of weeks ago. But the legacy of boxing in the Shreveport-Bossier area goes back to really the year I was born, when Tim DeMint was an Olympic boxer, and we wanted to really recognize him, and we tried to find out, but we've got numerous local boxers that will be competing in the national championships over the next 8 days. So it's super exciting when you can bring the economic impact, but also when you can allow your local athletes to be able to compete in their own hometown. So let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Tim DeMint.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this celebration. And we do have something to celebrate because this hasn't been an easy road to get here. This was a big battle, and I want to thank the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission for going after this. You know, my definition of luck is where preparation and opportunity meet. And I'm telling you, timing has a lot to do with things in life. And the significance of a national tournament to a boxer has so much to do with timing, going on at the right time in their life and where they are in their boxing program, at what level they're on. And the significance of having this national event is unimaginable to the boxer, because your life will go in one direction or another after a national event. There will be some people that probably will drop out of boxing because they've competed in it and they've done the best they can. They learned that in their life it's time to go on. But there'll be young people that are competing in it for the first time, and the whole world will wake up to them. They'll see things that they could only see through participation, and not just spectation, but participation. I got involved in boxing mainly because I got tired of sitting on the sideline. I wanted to participate. I admire these young people. They have nobody's forcing them to get involved in boxing, but they dedicate their lives towards a goal, and our goals are reachable in the beginning, and then we start stretching them out. And it's surprising the great effect, the positive effect that boxing will have on a person's life. The significance of going to the first national tournament that I had, I'll just explain to you what happened after I went. It was in Louisiana in 1971. The national AAU at that time was the governing body of boxing. I remember everything about that tournament. I was 16 years old. There's a lot of things I've forgotten between now and then, but so many things I remember about that. I remember I saw Muhammad Ali and met Muhammad Ali for the first time and shook his hand. I was blown away just seeing Muhammad Ali. I participated in the Nationals and ended up not winning the Nationals, but I made it to the finals. I had, I think, 5 fights in 4 days or 4 fights in 3 days. Anyway, I made it to the finals. I didn't win. But like mentioned before, it puts the athlete on stage where everybody can see them that are interested, and people will get recognized. Even the ones that lose, they'll get recognized. And they'll be invited to participate again. And what happened to me after I lost in the finals, they remembered me. They invited me to the Pan American trials, and I won the Pan American trials. They invited me to go to, well, they didn't let me go to the Pan American Games because I was too young. I was old enough to compete, but I wasn't old enough to go to South America. You had to be 17. So they let me go on another trip to Poland, where I fought 2 fights in Poland against 2 Polish champions, and I won them. And I was surprised myself. And then I got invited again to fight in the Playboy Club in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, against the Romanian national champion, and I won there. And then later I got invited to go to Russia, and I fought twice in Russia. I fought in Germany. I've traveled places that I would never been able to go if it wasn't for amateur boxing. And the things that what I appreciate about USA Boxing is it's not just champions in the ring, but champions outside of the ring. Because these young people are developing. And when you invest in young people, you're spending a nickel on the dollar. There's no better investment you can make. And I thank y'all for supporting our young people and supporting amateur boxing. And thank y'all for being here.
Once again, we thank you all for being here. I appreciate the media for coming out, both local and national, to come over to Shreveport Bossier. We're hoping to have you here throughout the week. And each of the speakers here, if you would like some interviews, will be available afterwards. So again, thanks, and let's get ready to fight. Yeah.